Looks like people are filtering in.
Great. Hello, everybody. I think we'll get started here. My name's Tom Purcell. I'm in charge of, or the chairman, I guess, of our capital campaign. And it gives me great pleasure, along with Dan Trump, who is the baseball sports administrator for Georgetown, to introduce our new head coach, Edwin Thompson. Just a little bit in terms of the order of events tonight. Dan is going to introduce Coach Thompson. We're going to hear a few words from Coach Thompson, and then I'm going to facilitate a Q&A with Coach Thompson, which hopefully will cover many of the topics that you've thought of. We have gotten some questions sent to us in advance, which will be addressed, but if you think of anything else as you're listening, just throw it in the chat. And this is a maiden voyage for me in terms of hosting one of these, so I think I'll be able to handle that, and I will do my best. But thank you all for joining this very exciting night for all of us, in my opinion. And I'm going to hand it over to Dan now, who will introduce Coach Thompson.
Great. Thank you, Tom. And it's great to see everybody tonight. You know, it's definitely an exciting time for Georgetown baseball, and it's great to see everybody here. First, I do want to recognize and just thank Coach Wilk for his 23 years of service to Georgetown and everything he's done for the baseball program, the hundreds of student athletes that played for him, several that are on the call tonight. And I just want to wish him and his family all the best. As I said, couldn't be more excited to welcome Coach Thompson to Georgetown University as our new head baseball coach. He comes to the Hilltop after spending the past 5 seasons as a head coach at Eastern Kentucky University. In the last 3 years at EKU, he won 74 games, had a 12-2 start to the 2020 season before that the season being shut down. That includes a win at LSU and Alex Box Stadium on a Friday night. And for everybody on the call that knows college baseball, winning at LSU in a guarantee game on a Friday night does not happen very often. So that's exciting. He's coached 23 All-Americans, 43 players have gone on to professional baseball. His teams have had tremendous academic success, demonstrated by his EKU teams having been only one of 13 baseball programs earning American Baseball Coaches Association Team Academic Excellence Award in each of his 5 years. Brings 16 years of collegiate coaching experience to Georgetown, 7 of which as a head coach, as well as 4 years working with USA Baseball. He's at Georgia State as a pitching coach and recruiting coordinator. Spent 2 seasons at Duke as an assistant coach and recruiting coordinator. And prior to Duke, he was a head coach at Bates College in Maine for 2 years. Coach Thompson has several ties to the DMV area. He played collegiately at Howard and that school over in College Park before concluding his career at Weber University in Babson Park, Florida, where he helped his team to a school record 37 wins and its first ever regional appearance. In getting to know Coach Thompson during the interview process, and as Lee and I spoke to those involved in the world of college athletics and college baseball, it quickly became very apparent his passion for student athlete success, his recruiting strategies and connections, his coaching background and experiences, personality, hustle, determination. It was clear from the get-go he was the right fit for Georgetown as the right guy to lead our baseball program. He was officially hired on September 1st. And not so sure he's even slept yet. So he definitely gets after it. So with that, I want to welcome Coach Thompson to the Hoya baseball family and to Georgetown athletics. Coach.
Thanks, Dan, for that. I think when you have you good players, your resume sounds maybe better than it is. But I appreciate that and just the opportunity to be here tonight, to engage with everybody here. And for those that are meeting me for the first time, I just want to say I'm so excited to be your head coach. And I want to thank Tom for taking the time to be the facilitator for this. But I also want to thank Dan Trump and Lee Reed for giving this opportunity to be the head coach. And I don't take that lightly. I'm very passionate about impacting young people. That's kind of been my mission since I started coaching. And for me, there's no better place to do that than at Georgetown. I think that's something when you talk about excellence from the university standpoint, the backdrop of Washington, D.C., everything is there. When I was looking at this opportunity to take this opportunity, it was just it was the right fit for myself and my family. And I'm just so looking forward to building upon what Coach Wilk has done in the last many years that he's been at a program. In the short period of time that I've been with our players, he's gotten the right people, and I want to commend him and his staff for having great people in the organization. And I'm just looking forward to taking that next step in the program and taking it to places that it hasn't been, in a long time, and just be there consistently. So can't wait to get started, and I'm looking forward to tonight. And so any questions you guys may have, please put in the chat box. Like Tom said, I look forward to answering as many as I can. If we can't get it, we'll go offline and we'll get those done. But again, so excited to be here, and I can't wait to start for the tonight.
Great. Thanks, Coach Thompson. I think we'll move to the Q&A. Why don't we start with maybe spending a bit of time on your vision for the program, and what does success look like to you?
Yeah, great question. I think success can be defined in a lot of different ways. For me, my ultimate success is when a player calls 5-10 years and say, "Coach, you impacted my life. I'm getting married. I got a new job. I got into med school. I'm going to the big leagues." To me, that's my ultimate success. Now, it's a results-oriented business in a college athletics, and so just like the professors are there at Georgetown to graduate them and give them the tools. My job is to provide the best experience that I possibly can for our players and our student athletes, and ultimately to win games. And I think that's something that is everyone wants to win. And I think how do you go about winning in the landscape of college baseball? It's going to come down to a handful of things. It's number one is, are we going to be more competitive than that other team for that day? Are we going to be passionate about what we're doing? And then ultimately accountability within the organization. And I think the vision that I have is big. Georgetown is a top 25 academic institution. That's what I want our baseball program to mirror, that from the results standpoint. I'm a dreamer. I think that's something that I'm not scared to tell you guys and tell any of our players or anybody that comes in touch with asking about Georgetown. I want to win. I want to win Big East championships. I want to take this to the NCAA tournament, and I want to go as far as we possibly can in places we haven't been. Those are my goals. How we get there, it's very strategic and it's a process-oriented approach. But I think it's one that it's going to be a shared vision with everyone on this call, our players, our alums, fans, you name it. Everyone wants that, and I think the way we'll go about it will be professional. We'll have it the players that you can watch our teams play and know that they'll be very competitive. They'll do things the right way on and off the field. I want players that want to win a championship as bad as they want to graduate. And I think maybe I'm greedy, but we're at Georgetown. We can be greedy because that's a standard of excellence that the university has, and I just want to continue that and take that with the baseball program.
Great. Now, I guess it's proved by the fact that we're all here on this Zoom right now. It's an unusual year, and you're stepping in, and your student athletes aren't on campus. I don't think you're allowed to practice at the moment. Can you talk a bit about how you've connected with the team and how you build relationships virtually?
Yeah, it's obviously normally when in a normal world we're practicing right now. We're in a fall practice. We're developing our continuity, our skill set. We're making them better baseball players. We're working them, engaging the community. But right now, honestly, and I told these guys during the interview process, for a new coach to come in mid-year, so to speak, and not see our players until we get back in January, I look at the positives. I'm going to get the chance to have real relationships with my players, and these guys are all my guys. I told them, and they're my guys. They chose Georgetown, and I chose Georgetown, and that's what we have in common. We both have a common goal of success, but ultimately we are engaging in a lot of different activities. We're doing weekly or daily, Monday or Tuesday through Friday Zoom calls. I break it up. We have a thing called Mindset Wednesdays where we talk about leadership. We talk about competitiveness. We may show a movie quote, a movie clip, something motivational. Tomorrow's our get to know each other day. We'll talk about what they're how they want what they play the game for, what they do things, what their why is, so to speak. And then also have individual meetings. That was a priority for me my first week, and it was very aggressive. I met with every single player for 30 minutes, and we have 40 players. And so I wanted to at least establish that relationship initially before I could start talking about, how many games we're going to win or a first and third defense. I want to make sure that they know that they can trust me and that I'm here for them as people. And it's been fun. We're going to do some fun things, and we'll do some competitive things within the rules of what we have with the NCAA rules of, we can't actually, I can't see them throw a bullpen or hit ground balls and all that stuff, but we'll get everything we want. We need to get in from a offensive philosophy, defensive philosophy during this period of time. So we're making, I always tell people, you can make excuses or you can make things happen. And our players are going to make things happen. I truly believe that we're in a place of growth and an opportunity for us to all improve coming out of this. And we'll be ready. Trust me, when it comes down to January, February, whenever we get back on a baseball field, our 40 guys will be ready to go play and compete against anybody at any time.
Awesome. I know you have strong roots in the DMV area. What led you back to the area, and why Georgetown?
Yeah. Why not? It's Georgetown, and I think it's one of those places around the country that's a brand school. I can go in anybody's room on phone call or now in Zoom calls from a family dynamic recruiting, and I can say Georgetown University head baseball coach, and they're gonna respond back to me. And then just knowing the area, having recruited this area, I was born in Fairfax, Virginia, but I grew up in Maine. But my family was kind of always stayed connected down here. My brother still lives here, and so that part of it, knowing the area, knowing all the things you can recruit to Georgetown, it was really a simple answer when they asked me to kind of if I wanted to be their coach. The vision of Lee Reed and Dan Trump and just the athletic department and kind of where they want to go, not only with the baseball program, but all the athletic departments, talking with alums like yourself, it really was special. And, that's why I wanted to come back and be a part of it.
Maybe you could just kind of, as we get more into the nuts and bolts of how you run the team, you've had experience coaching pitching and hitting. You've coached college level, USA baseball. If you could just talk about that breadth of experience and how you think that shapes your approach to the game.
Yeah, I think I was very fortunate. I started coaching Division III for 4 years at University of Maine at Farmington. As a young coach, I had to wear many hats, and I mean every hat that I could possibly have to wear. My head coach at the time was the basketball coach, and probably for the first month, basketball and baseball overlapped for preseason practices, and by default, I had to learn every position. I had to develop my own plan of how to coach those positions, and that really gave me a lot of growth. And I think when I got an opportunity to be a pitching coach at Duke and at Georgia State, what it allowed me to do is see things from a different perspective. Having been a hitter myself my whole life, I was really able to kind of, get into how hitters and pitchers and kind of have the reverse psychology. So I knew how hitters were thinking when I was coaching pitchers. I know how pitchers are thinking when I was coaching the hitters. And so it's really allowed me to connect with all the players. And sometimes as a head coach, you get locked in on one side or the other, offensively or pitching. For me, I'm able to kind of talk and relate and help and develop all of our players. And having coached now, this is my 17th year coaching college, which is hard to process. It's really been a benefit, not only just for our current guys, but also in the recruiting process. And I think, my experience, coaching at a place like Duke University, which is very similar academically, and playing baseball at a high level in the ACC, to coaching at Team USA, it's provided me the resources to kind of have a development plan for each guy and how we want to go about things. And I think there's tons of ways to do it, but I think, ultimately it's been a benefit for me to have that background. It's really been a blessing.
Maybe you brought up the academic side. Georgetown's a tough school. Can you just touch on your thoughts of the importance of being a student athlete, and then how you balance having athletic excellence and academic excellence concurrently?
Yeah, like the first thing that I'll tell any family, is they're here to get a degree. I think being around the high level academic institutions, like I said, I recognized how important that is And that's kind of been who I've been the last 10 years. Just really understanding that, you're here to get a degree. We're here to win games. You're here to develop as a person. I want to make sure that, we have balance in everything that we do. That's an important piece. I think you can't have guys that are always in the library. We can't have guys that are always in the batting cage. We can't have guys enjoying the social life of Washington, D.C. and Georgetown, right? There has to be a little bit of a balance between all three of those. And then ultimately, we want to foster the culture and the standards in our program that this is what we do. You're here at Georgetown to get an elite degree. And so our work ethic, our ability to develop their growth academically has to be at a high standard. Them to grow as people, I want them to be at a very high standard. And then obviously from the baseball, I want to push them and challenge them to get the most out of their skill set. And so it's really consistency is the key to any organization. And for our organization, it's going to be consistent from the time they commit to us, they get into school, by the time they get here, it's just going to be across the board. And I think, we have guys that want to be doctors, we have guys that want to be lawyers, everything in between. I'm going to make sure that they understand. I'm going to support them in their efforts to be whatever they want to be on and off the field. They want to be a big leaguer, we're going to support that. But ultimately, the academic piece is such an important piece for me to make sure that they know that it's important to me. I have both my parents were educators, and like if I didn't do well in school, I wasn't playing baseball. So it's the same kind of standards I want to have with our guys.
Maybe you could talk then a bit about your recruiting strategy and how you find players that fit that bill. I know you've got a lot of experience in recruiting as well, and then mix in, it's an unusual time to be recruiting right now with no one really playing. So if you could cover that as well.
Yeah, I think that it's any organization, any program, any team, you want to have good people, and that's the first thing that I noticed that at Coach Wilk and his staff, we have great people in the organization right now, and I just want to continue to add to that. I want to have utilize my connections and my resources around this country to be able to do that. Get the best players we can that fit the mission of Georgetown and our baseball program. And I think it's been, recruiting is such an important part. You're going to miss on talent as a coach. You think that pitcher or that hitter is going to project at a young age and it just doesn't click, and that's okay. But as long as you have the right person, as long as they have the right makeup and they have the ability to want to get better and become the best they can, that's all I'm going to look for. Not being a great teammate, not being competitive, not being professional in how they go about their business. Those players won't make it, and I won't recruit those players. Those players that just want to come to just to play baseball or because we're at DC. I want guys that want it all. And whether you want to be a CEO or whether you want to be a Major League Baseball player. So in the recruiting process, those are things that I stress to them and families that I'm going to hold them to a very high standard, and I'm going to tell them I'm going to tell them what they need to hear, not what they want to hear. And if they don't like that, then this won't be a good fit. And so finding that fit during this difficult time of not being allowed to go off campus since I guess last fall, last time we were off campus from Division I. It makes challenges, but it goes back to communication. It goes back to the process for me is I'm going to go slow through the process to make sure I know the right people are going to come. And then just communication. I think you have great communication amongst between you and the families. It's great. And the great part is everyone's in the same situation. So there's no advantages from a recruiting standpoint. And I'm very blessed to have recruited this whole country. I finished the last 5 years recruiting the Midwest. I've done the Northeast. I've done the DC, Maryland, Mid-Atlantic region, the Southeast, and the West Coast, in Texas as well. So those connections, those resources from scouts to travel coaches and high school coaches, I'm utilizing all those right now. And I'm overwhelmed with the amount of interest in our program in such a positive way. I mean, just the amount of kids that have reached out since I've been hired. It's really awesome. And I'm excited to kind of work my way through the process and get our first class together, later this fall and moving forward. But, that's always important.
Maybe you could discuss some of the mentors that you've had throughout your life and how that's influenced your approach and your coaching style.
Yeah. It starts with my parents. I had a great foundation. Without them and seeing what a work ethic looked like that part would be, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't them, my family, just to support. I mean, I have an amazing wife. who just allows me to kind of coach and do what I do. And those people are in my life, like in my friends. Like my schedule was always kind of a weird schedule. I was always kind of gone recruiting, or when I was playing, I was kind of always busy. And so that allowed me to kind of just to be me and to learn. And then when I got to, University of Maine at Farmington, a man named Dick Meter, who really was influential in my first 4 years of coaching. I didn't know anything about college coaching, and he just said, go get it. I was 23 years old, and he just let me coach. And that was the best time of my life. I drove a vans, I did laundry, I was pitching, hitting, I was you name it, I did it. And so those years were really important. And then Sean McNally at Duke, he hired me, and he's now the special assistant to the general manager of the Pirates. And he gave me an opportunity to go from Bates College, Division III school, to the recruiting coordinator in the ACC. And so he really shaped my baseball skill development. I was in a baseball factory where I was able to learn, playing, baseball against, all the best schools in the country at the ACC level, but just how do you go about developing the players? And then I got to Georgia State, and Greg Frady, he allowed me to learn how to be a head coach at the Division I level. And that was kind of my last piece of the puzzle that I needed for me to feel ready to go to Eastern Kentucky. And so, those three guys and my family, without them, I just don't know. And I'm lucky to have such great support of my family. So I'm thankful for them. And it's allowed me to kind of grow and just kind of reach my dreams and my goals.
Maybe you could just spend 1 minute or a couple minutes talking about your move to Eastern Kentucky. What was the program like when you got there? How did it progress, et cetera?
Yeah, it's kind of, I tell the story. It was like a place that there was a team that they had, and we didn't have a facility. We had an ice shack as a press box. There was dugouts weren't painted. There was trash all over the place. And I don't want to say it was a foreclosure if you relate it to housing market, but it was pretty close. And it was a boat that had holes in it. It was just, it was in a rough spot. And I mean that academically, we weren't where they community-wise, and then results, right? And that's so the first thing we wanted to do was establish who we are and what we're about. And that group, just like I'm telling these guys, if they buy in, there'll be some special moments throughout the year. That first year, we beat Mississippi State on the road, which is hard to do. We beat Kentucky on the road, which hadn't been done. And those type of moments, we didn't have the overall success because we didn't have the depth, or, we were kind of limited, but we had some really good individual moments. And the program was just kind of there. Hadn't had success in a while. And so I just wanted to establish how we go about what success looks like. Everyone wants success, but I said, okay, here's how success is going to look in this area and that area. And then ultimately we just kind of all bought in. And then slowly we raised money for a new facility. My third year, or going into my third year, we opened up my third year. And that really changed the trajectory of the program. But then, we kind of just stayed with my process. It took, 2 or 3 years to kind of get everyone on board, get the right depth, and, avoid injuries and all those things. And just kind of myself being a first-time head coach at the Division I level, making some mistakes. I grew and I learned. And then, my last 3 years, as Dan said, we were as good as anybody at any given time and could play with anybody. And I think the process of going through there from having, maybe no fans at the games to having 1,000 people at our games was something that it was important to create. And I plan on doing that here as well in a thorough process to create that atmosphere that, hey, this is a big deal, and expect to go out there and play anybody that we play.
I'm going to go. We've got some questions that were submitted earlier. Mark McLaughlin, class of 07. He had a question regarding the strength of schedule, and in his opinion, the out-of-conference games were not as difficult as they should have been. And he's wondering if you're going to start to schedule teams like Virginia, North Carolina, Duke, etc.
Yeah, 2 out of those schools I've already talked to and working out dates. North Carolina, Virginia, University of Florida, Vanderbilt. I want our program to be an elite program from a baseball standpoint. I want our team to be in a regional. My philosophy in scheduling, just like at Eastern Kentucky, we played LSU, we beat Virginia, and we played those teams by design, because in order to, when you make it a regional, for the most part, you're going to be a lower seed. not always, but just in general. So you're going to be on the road in those environments in front of 4, 5, 6, 7, 10,000, whatever that number is. And if I don't prepare our players to be in those environments, how can I expect us to have success once we get there? Because I think one thing you learn about me is I'm not just happy to go play North Carolina or Virginia. I'm here to win, and our players are going to be able to go out there and compete every single time. It's never who the best team is, who plays the best at any given night. And that's especially in baseball. The gap in talent is very thin. It comes down to execution. It comes down to adjustments. But we're going to play a great non-conference schedule. Obviously, we're going to play our regional teams just because of our location. We're going to add, get back Maryland on the schedule. Some teams, Virginia Tech, in our region, and play our best regional schedule that we can. And then our non-conference, we're going to challenge our guys. And again, I think that's the only way I know how to do it. So hopefully, I'm also going to try to do it to where we may have kids from the West Coast, and we get out to the West Coast and play, for those kids, or down in Texas or Arizona. Just, I'm always going to try to do that over the 4 years of a kid's career if I can, so their families can kind of be in their backyard. So those are important pieces. So it's kind of it's like a combination of talented teams, but also I try to do it strategically to get guys back home if I can.
We had another one from Paul Leonard, who's making a bid to be on your coaching staff. He said, can you talk a little bit about your in-game philosophy? Do you like to hit and run? What do you like to see from your pitchers? Yeah,
I think that I like that, Paul. I think we can make a phone call later. I'll give you my number. It's a simple methodology. It's guys that can throw a strike on the mound, guys that are competitive and know who they are as pitchers. I think sometimes in all players, I think pitching wise, those are important pieces. But ultimately, I want guys that are aggressive, that have conviction in what pitch they throw. The belief that they're going to throw this strike out, get this out when they need it, and go from there. Offensively, every year is going to be a little bit different. Obviously, I'll assess that once we get there, but it's kind of in general. Everything we want to do is aggressive. I think when you get off the bus and you get off, it's time to go out there and compete. I think the expectation to expect to win versus hope to win offensively, the objective is to score runs. And I've been very fortunate to have some really good players that have bought into that system offensively to score a lot of runs consistently. And how that works, hey, every year it could be different. We steal bases, we may hit and run, maybe just hit a lot of home runs. It's kind of a hybrid offense that I've kind of created, but ultimately it just comes down to keeping it very simple. Everyone will have a shared understanding of what their role is, and then we just got there and execute it.
We've got one in from the Georgetown Hall of Famer, Kurt Call, from the West Coast. And he's wondering, have you historically gotten players into some of the best summer leagues? Do you think that that's a big deal? What's your philosophy on that?
Yeah, so player development, I think, is a comprehensive. It's a year-round cycle. I was telling some of the pitchers, we look at it from an entire year from their workload, from a pitching standpoint. We're going to make sure that from the fall to the preseason to the season, we'll assess where they're at from a pitching standpoint to go out and pitch or to rest. Positionally, I'm a big believer in getting guys at bats as many as they can. That's how they get better. And we'll utilize the summer leagues around the country, from the Cape Cod League to the New England Collegiate League, guys out in the West Coast, the California League, Coastal Plain, all the best leagues in the country. Our players have already, I've already been in the process of placing our players. That's kind of one of my roles, because ultimately as a head coach, I feel I have an understanding of where guys are going to be, and then where they're going to get the best opportunity to develop. And, I think it is a big deal. So the great part about Georgetown is what I tell all the juniors: if you get to your junior year and you're not able to get drafted, or you're not a draft person and you need to get an internship, or you're going to go get that summer internship, because again, plan A is why they're here. We got to make sure we have that. And I never lose focus of that as well. So it's kind of like everybody's going to be a little bit different in that regard, but I want to make sure that they have that option. And summer leagues 100% will be, our guys will be playing all over the country every summer, and even including our incoming players as well, with certain positions.
Got one here from Alex Bernauer. He's making a bid for head of the Diamond Club and my job running the capital campaign. He wants to know, what's your biggest opportunity as a coach, and then how do you plan to involve alumni in the program?
Well, I think I'm going to establish and talk to you guys as alums and kind of get a sense of what has been going on, what you've liked, and what you want to see. I think I'm the coach of your program. And that's the beautiful thing about this. I am the baseball coach for everyone that has a tie on this call, everyone that's not even here. And so what is your vision? I'll ask you at some point. You can email me and talk about it. I mean, I have done a lot of events. I know I've talked to a few of alums about some networking nights to have that established for our baseball alumni network with our current players, alumni game, from a leadoff lunch or a first pitch dinner, golf outings, just engagement within alums. As I said before, if I'm out recruiting in a certain area, I know I have a handful of alums. I'd love to grab lunch when I'm out there or dinner or whatever. And same thing when we're playing. If we're playing down in Texas or California or Florida, and there's a good amount of alums, I want to get together with them. I want them to meet our players. I want as much engagement because that's the beautiful thing about the community, the Georgetown community. It's a real thing. And all the guys that I asked, every single one of them mentioned our current players. I said, what do you like most about Georgetown? And they said, the team, the alumni, the community. And so I'm not going to overthink things and try to rearrange things, but I do want to add my own touches to everything. That's kind of the nature of it, but I want to be able to have a shared partnership, especially with alumni. So you'll hear from me with emails and different, maybe different things that we'll do or activities. And so, reach out to me and I'll give you, I'd love to have any ideas you may have or you want to do. We can work that out as well. So it's a clean slate.
All right. Last one I'm seeing from the chat is James Bergeron was asking about the facilities. James, let's put that on hold. We're going to come back to that at the end. Dan Trump's going to speak a bit about it.
Yeah. Any other questions in there or?
I don't see any in the chat. Anybody has anything else they want to throw in?
I think I saw one of them asking about the coaching staff. So
yeah, that's right.
I can do it all, right? That's why they hired me. No, great question. So like anything, there's a process and I'm kind of, and I'll be transparent with everyone on this. I'm waiting to kind of see if my assistant coaches at the previous school I was at are get their head job or not. I have been talking to people that if they don't come, I have a great list. And one thing you can trust that I'm going to hire great people. I'm going to recruit good people. I only want the best around your sons if you're a parent here, and the same thing to represent our university if you're alum. And that's something that no matter who comes in, we're going to have great people. We're going to have a well worth of experience from guys that have maybe played in the big leagues to guys that played professionally, coached Division I, and everything in between. When it all comes down to it, we'll put the best people to lead our program to help develop our players on a daily basis. And I know that, my goal is always kind of been, a month after I kind of got hired, hopefully things will kind of, come true here soon. But as soon as that happens, we'll let everybody know. And I know you guys will be excited about the people that we're going to bring into the organization.
We've got one from Jake Hyde. He's a member of the most illustrious class in the history of Georgetown baseball, 1993. And he was wondering if we have any idea when the team will be able to practice again together. When
they're going to be able to practice again?
Yeah.
When the NCAA or when ever the university says we can. That's again, pick a date and we'll both be surprised. But as far as us getting back together, that's all university based. It's way above my area of expertise. Maybe Dan can talk about that later or at some point. But right now it's just, as I told everybody, we'll be ready when it's time. I'm confident in that process. I'm confident that as we go through this off season, that they'll have an off season of development. We're going to make sure their minds and their bodies are going in the right direction. And whenever that they say go, trust me, the boys will be ready. So they haven't really, talking to them, they're anxious, but I just told them to stay calm. Just keep it. Each day that goes by is one day closer to that time we get together. I don't know when that day is. I can't predict that. I don't go to Vegas or anything like that. So just make sure that they'll be ready as soon as we can, as soon as we were able to.
All right. We had a question from Bebo regarding uniforms and equipment needed for the current team.
Well, I guess your guess would maybe be good as mine. I think like every year, we're always going to need support. I think we did get some new uniforms. I'm almost positive we did. Again, I haven't even been to campus, so I don't know. I can't assess all those. But if you email me directly, you give me about a week, I will 100% give you some things. I know we're working through just the basic things from equipment that our players need to make sure to go out and perform. I'm a big believer in that they need to have the tools necessary to go out there, just like a calculator to do a math test. They need all the basic things that they need to make sure they go out there and have success. So I think that's an important piece. But yeah, email me and I'll let you know.
There's a question from Bob Lamont regarding whether or not there's anything you can do to get the players into the gym on campus. I know the answer to that, but go ahead.
Yeah, no, the answer would be no. I don't have that type of authority. But, as I kind of said earlier, when we're able to get back on campus and get into a gym, trust me, it will be all hands on deck and they'll be ready to go. But until then, unfortunately, they have to kind of control that narrative in their own space and get better. And like I told them, ultimately, I might be a pitching coach, I might be a hitting coach, but they're going to be their best individual person. They know if they're in shape. They know if they need to get stronger. Part of our dialogue that I have with the players is just to communicate and say, what are your limitations? I can't tell them how to go do it. I can just suggest things. And ultimately, it's their choice to what they want to do. And that's all that comes down to. And the guys, from what they've said, are making a great choice. And I know that they'll be ready when we open up, whenever that time is.
Okay. Why don't we, let me take 5 minutes and just talk a bit about where we are in the capital campaign and, the progress there. So we've got, we're going to share a screen because we've got some slides, I think. Yeah, there we go. So we'll start with the annual fund. I would say historically for the program, we've been, as a community, I guess, we've been quite supportive of the team over a long period of time. Last year, we didn't meet the goal, but I would chalk that up to the fact that everything ended quite soon for obvious health reasons. And this year's probably started a bit slower than usual, but that's for the same reason. It's very important for us to maintain that, each year in terms of support, and just wanted to point that out. Then I'll give you an update in terms of the capital campaign. As you know, we started, or a lot of you know at least, we launched the campaign in 2019. We formed a committee kind of summer of 18. We had a big meeting in New York, and it's got 3 legs on the stool: $6 million for scholarships, $3 million for facilities, and $1.5 million for coaching excellence that will help, frankly, help add to the coaching salaries, which will help Coach Thompson in terms of stability of assistant coaches, and also help Coach Thompson stay out of the firing line in the home front from Mrs. Coach Thompson. We've benefited a lot from other things that the community's done in the last number of years. Both the locker room, we've got a new hitting, or it's not new anymore, but we got the hitting facility, it's pretty new, and the Thompson Center, and all of these have really helped. Now I'll give you an update of where we are. I'm sure we've reached out to many of you, but the goal in scholarships is $6 million. That would add 4 additional to the 5 that we already have, which would get us to 9. The NCAA max is 11.7, and I think at that level, in terms of Coach Thompson's ability to go out and get players, I think that really will put him in a good position. We have gotten to 3.6 out of towards the goal. We've raised 3.6 already, and within that we've got cash that is, I think, at $2 million, which already, so our actual scholarships today are 6 1/3 on our way to the 9. Next. In terms of facilities, the goal is for $3 million. That will improve Shirley Povich. Dan's going to speak a bit about this at the end. We're currently at $1.4 million. and things are moving along there. Like anything in life, as we've seen this year, we've had to be somewhat flexible in terms of dealing with the state of Maryland, but it's moving ahead and we feel really confident there. Coaching excellence, we have raised $120,000. The goal is $1.5 million, and we look to improve that number going forward. So if you add up the total progress, we were at a bit over halfway there at 5.2 million. We've got a number of people, and that's just people who've signed agreements. We have a great number of people who've indicated an interest in supporting the capital campaign, and hopefully we'll convert those. And I would just end with this: when we launched that or started talking about it, really, I'd say in the summer of 2018, the goal here is to really see a pivot in the program, and one that sees us achieve sustained success of the type of success that Coach Thompson was just talking about a minute ago, winning on the field and having the type of players that form the alumni base that's on this call right now. And I'm extremely confident that we have the right person for the job right here and that we're going to get that done. So I will hand it over. I think, Dan, maybe you should spend a couple minutes on the field, and then Coach Thompson will close us out.
Sure. No, thank you. Yeah, and before I get to the facilities, just to the overall capital campaign piece, right? All three pillars are critical. And I don't want to speak for Coach Thompson by any means, but I think, and we talked about this before, you know, men's soccer has just been a great example of how they've achieved the success that they've achieved, you know, winning the national championship a year ago. 10, 12 years ago, they were in the same boat probably as baseball from a scholarship standpoint. And the first thing that happened is they got them up to the maximum limit for soccer, which is 9.9. And that's where their success just took off, right? Coach Weiss was a fantastic hire. We think we have a fantastic hire with Coach Thompson. I think if we give him the resources, starting with, you know, scholarships, and we have to support him and his staff, as Tom mentioned, I think those are critical. That, which I'll talk about real quickly, and then show you a little video here regarding our facilities. And again, I mentioned, you know, Edwin started September 1st. It's now September 24th. I don't think he's slept. I think he's gone nonstop. He's been spending all his time, rightfully so, with our current players, with recruiting, with working on putting a staff together, with getting emails set up, with selecting benefits, with you know, all of those things. We've only spent a little bit of time talking about facilities, but one of the things we've talked about is what we want to do is it's got to be helpful to our players. It's got to be player driven. So that's, you know, the quality of the playing field, the, you know, the batting cages, all of those types of things. But where we're at now in terms of 1.5, 1.6 with facilities, you know, projecting if we can get that to 3 million to increase, to upgrade our facilities, I think we're in really good shape there. So what I'll do is I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to show you a video that we've put together that essentially is a 3D video rendering of what we envision the future to be here for Georgetown baseball. So it's about 1.5 minutes long. So here you go. So pretty powerful stuff. It's exciting, and we can do all of that, you know. And to have a facility like that for players and their development and improvement from a recruiting standpoint. But it takes all three pillars, you know, to Tom's point and Edwin's point about what's important. So, yeah, definitely exciting times. And like I said at the very beginning, I think we have the right guy. We do have the right guy. It's not that I think, we do have the right guy to lead us to where we all believe we should be.
Is that Dan?
Go ahead.
So, you know, I think, you know, this is truly amazing. You know, I can't tell you just
a picture anymore.
Huh? Oh, yeah. I think seeing that video and just seeing the progress that, you know, I'm kind of fortunate to kind of come into the back end of it, if you will, but also at the starting point. And I mean that because there's going to be a new expectations that I feel I'm going to put to our players. I'm not a guru. There's no magic dust to this process. To be successful in anything you do, it takes strategically planned. And that's kind of how I am. I'm very thorough. I know the intent that it was going to take from everyone on this call and more, but ultimately it's going to come down to myself, my staff, the players, to be productive citizens and good people. And so the facility piece is an important one. The scholarships, the coaching excellence. Every part of that has I can hire my staff, and I can hire, somebody asked me about my staff. There's different coaches that can afford to live in Washington, D.C. versus others. And those are all things based off salary. You know, from a facility standpoint, that's where we develop the players. Having those resources, like I know people have supported some of the technology that are out there. I mean, it is going to be a game changer for us to continue to develop our players and to stay current with everyone else that's our competitive peers. And as I told you, my goal is to go against all the top schools, academic schools, and the regular schools around this country from a recruiting standpoint. And we will have all the pieces of this puzzle to present to them and understand. I'm not a car salesman. I'm not. I'm just me. And I'm a hardworking person. And, you know, people ask me, you know, why Georgetown? Well, I couldn't get into school. So unlike Tom, I couldn't have gotten into school academically. I'm just going to be honest. So, you know, but I wanted to share something with you, and I hope you can see this. It's right there. So if you see me, that right there, I have a Georgetown sweatshirt on, and if you can get in there, I was 12, and you know, you think about it, you get excited just thinking about when you're little, you just dream, and I'm a dreamer. Like I'm literally. I feel my whole life I've been dreaming, and I think I can't even, I'm pinching myself, the fact that I'm the head coach at Georgetown. I can't like convey that any other way than I'm just really genuinely excited. And I know that I'm looking forward to getting to know everybody in a relationship. That's kind of how I coach. I'm very passionate at what I do, but to see that at 12 years old, I don't know if that's God or just my own, like, you know, goats get it attitude, but like, I'm going to shoot for the stars, and I'm going to do everything I possibly can to make sure the program represents this university, you guys as alumni and supporters, to the highest level it can. And I will do everything I can. I promise you that. It won't be because we didn't give everything we could to make sure that we're there. And so all I'm looking for is just join their shared vision. If you're part of that vision, if you want to be a part of that vision, you know, let's get to know each other. You know, let's talk about it. I can give you my email. It's on the website if you want to talk, or, you know, may take me a little bit of time to get back to you right now because I'm extremely busy, but I'm going to get back to you, and I want to talk about it. I want to hear your concerns. I want to hear where you want to see it, what you think. Now, if you want to talk about, you know, who I should pitch and why I'm not hitting this guy or why should I have bunted, that's fine too, but just don't call me about that stuff. You know, that's something that for you guys to talk about and be like, man, you got to do a better job. That's fine. I can take that. I have thick skin. But anything to enhance our baseball program, anything that you feel that if there's alumni on this call that I have a handful that sent me some emails about players already, like, you're going to be our best resource from a recruiting standpoint. We can't see everybody, but so if you know a person in your area that's really good, let me know. Let my staff know. We'll follow up. And I think that part of it, when we have success on the field, because we're going to have success off the field, we're going to be pillars in our academic. We're going to graduate our kids. They're going to be elite like they've been. You guys all are elite people. the community part of it. We're going to continue to grow that area in the Washington, D.C. area. We're going to make an impact for Georgetown baseball, be known for that type of environment. And then on the field, you know, I'm not scared. I want it all. I want to go as far as we can in baseball. I want to win Big East championship. I want to be consistent in our league on a year in and year out basis. And they say Georgetown baseball, they're like, oh yeah, they're really good. They're really competitive. And they have great talent. They're well coached. They're professional. And they're supported, right? And that's all you ever ask for in life is an opportunity. And I think everywhere I've gone, if you can look at my track record, given the opportunity, you know, I made the most of it. And I know I'm going to make the most of this opportunity. I won't let you guys down in that regard. And I'll do everything I can to get this thing where we want it to be. And so, you know, with that, I just want to thank all the development staff that's on there, Kara and Sarah, and I forget, Marcus, I think I met him today for the first time, for the behind the scenes to get this up and running. To have that type of support for me is really special. I want to thank Tom, and I want to thank Dan, and I saw Lee Reed on here, our AD. You know, just everyone that's involved in Georgetown athletics, and all you guys that are in Georgetown baseball, just be ready, you know, because there's a lot of talk right now. It's all we're doing is talking and Zooming. But when it comes down to it, over the course of time, you're gonna be very proud of your alma mater or where you contribute, you know, your support. And so from that standpoint, get involved at any level. I know I'm working to get signed up on my benefits, but I'm also getting signed up to be a donor myself, and to be, our staff will be all in on this whole project. And it won't just be talking about it. I want to be about it. And so for that, I wish you guys nothing but the best. And hopefully any questions you have, shoot them an email, you know, get the information. Let's talk. If I can help you out in any way, let's talk. And that's, I'm an open door kind of policy in that standpoint. So please just use that as a resource. And I can't thank you all. Spend an hour with us over this time, and I look forward to future events that we'll put together. So for that, I'll turn it over to. I just want to say thank you for coming out. I don't know if I close it out, but that's it, and that's all I got.
I don't think anyone else has anything to follow that. So
That was
thanks,
great.
everybody.
All right, thanks, guys.